This is the Above Average Podcast, and you are listening because you want an above average life. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Above Average Podcast, the podcast where we talk to above average people about their above average lives. Now, my guest today is a man of many lives. He's been a voice actor, a TV presenter, a club tycoon, a restaurant owner, a producer, and at one point, yes, genuinely a character called Johnny Pornstar. He's funny, layered, and highly driven. I'm really excited to dig into his life, what he's built, and what it takes to be life's ultimate puppet master. Please welcome Mr. Craig Wilde to the show. How are you, mate?
Hello, Adam. Nice to be here. Nice to be here in your shed. It's great.
It does feel like a little bit of a shed when you said it, doesn't it?
It does, yes. I was quite scared when I was arriving because I thought this is kind of an industrial area.
Yes.
And
I
thought,
yeah.
I've seen this B-movie and it doesn't end well.
I've seen the people go in here and never come out.
Yeah. And I was like, it's either going to one of two ways. Either I'm going to a porn set or I'm going to a horror set. And
have you decided which one you'd rather be at?
I don't know. Let's get to the end of this podcast.
Let's see how well we flirt on during it. Yeah. So my first question for you, mate. Let's take you back. So you said you started performing sort of around 4 years old.
Oh, yes.
So what do you remember about being that kid, and what was it like to express yourself in that way so young?
Okay, so I think I would have been about 4, and 2 significant things happened. I got my first pet, which was a Jack Russell. I still love that breed, Parsons Jack Russell, called Sniffer, because a 4-year-old names what they see and hear, and so Sniffer, bless him, and also a record player. And my dad bought a record player and a load of pop records, and I think the first track, it might be apocryphal this, but certainly the first track that people associate was a Donna Summer number, and I think I kind of made some shapes, and so whenever aunts and uncles would come around, on would go the record player, and it would be like great, and I would end up performing. And then of course school came along, and I ended up being in every play and doing lots of performing that way. Yes, and I think I recall, because of the dancing, there was sadly no longer with us a lady called Pat Pye, who operated just outside of Hatfield, Doncaster, which is the area I was born in, Hatfield. It ran this dance school, and my mum was like, Craig really should go to dance school. And my dad said, my lad, none of my lads going dancing. There'll be none of that. No, we're not, no. And that was that. So that was the kind of first bit of performing, if you like. And kind of, we can skip the whole of this beginning, because we can just say, has anybody seen Billy Elliot? And that is my life. I'm a miner's son from Yorkshire. And granted, my father became management. But at the time, typical, very much like the Billy Elliot story. And first 9 years of my life in a pit house, as they were called, with a large garden, running around the fields, and coming home when it got dark, all kind of thing. Dad grew all our own veg, so I did organic food before you had to wear high-waisted pants and grow one of those chiseled beards.
Mine's not chiseled, bro. I do mine myself. Don't worry about it.
Coiffured beards. And, before pre-hipster.
Yeah.
I was organic before pre-hipster.
Yeah. Before it was cool.
Before it was, cool.
You were the trendsetter.
We were. And weirdly, I remember being at school, and my dad was growing all kind of random veg. He was in the elite club, so to be northern, he went elite club and onion club and all that. But we ate all this stuff, and I remember kids used to come back for tea sometimes, and my dad grew bell peppers, capsicum peppers. Well, you won't know because you're too young, but bell peppers only appeared in chopped up form on a Findus pizza. And some of your listeners who may be old enough to remember Findus, I think it's kind of a semi-retired brand, frozen food brand now, but they were like French bread pizzas.
Sounds nice. Yeah.
And the white bread, mind, and they were like chopped up peppers on these pizzas, and that was all people saw. So when people came to my house and they were shown, pumpkins and pumpkins. Halloween wasn't quite what it was. We did turnips.
Yes.
So we had.
Yeah. I'm old enough to remember that.
Okay. So we had pumpkins, and we had bell peppers.
Yeah.
And we had yellow courgettes, and we had black carrots, and all sorts of random veg. So people used to come to my house and go like, we're not going there because I think, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, what are we being fed? Yeah.
What are we being fed? Well, today, if I offered all of that, the hipsters would be flocking.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was so I think that's what's given me my constitution as well, is that that's how I was raised, really healthily. And today, kids are fed, everything is under cling film, really.
Yeah,
and if it doesn't go ping, it doesn't go in, in the sense of a microwave oven. Today, people just eat so much synthetic and processed stuff. And being in this environment where we are today, I'm sure...
In the gym, yes.
In the gym, processed food is an anathema. And I think that processed food, and starting way back when I was a kid, where bread was white, and by white bread, I mean it glowed, and there are brands, which I won't offend, but they're still around, some of them today, where we were fed these white bread brands, and everything, white bread. Yeah. And, now that's why, I believe that's why so many people, because of the bleaches they used, so many people now are kind of, intolerant to wheat and such.
Gluten and all
and
that.
Gluten and things. Now, even today, I don't have a listed problem with, I haven't got a clinical diagnosis on it, but I do know that white bread will be a problem. So I will go and buy a brown sourdough, and if I can get like a spelt sourdough, I'll pay extra money. I will go to a supermarket and pay £3 and £4 for bread, but I won't eat a lot of it, but I will buy it. And people go like, oh my God, you could buy like 10 loaves in a high street discount supermarket.
Cheap doesn't mean better though. Cheap doesn't mean better.
No.
The bread's not the same bread that it used to be. I think it's a lot worse for us now than it used to be.
It's really, and bread, if it's made properly, and I do bake my own bread because I really love cooking.
When you were slagging off the hipsters before, and then you're just like, I have sourdough and make my own bread.
Yeah, I know. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but you know what I don't have? I've not yet gone into making sourdough, so I don't have one of those weird bubbling jars.
Give it time.
Yeah. I know. I keep looking at Kilner jars and going, maybe.
You'll have a pizza oven in the garden and stuff as well.
I don't have a garden. I live in the city centre, so I'm a...
Do you have a balcony?
You
make pizza... I was going to say, you can make pizza on a balcony.
I have a terrace at the back, like a shared terrace. But I don't. I'm on a top floor penthouse thing. That sounds very grand, I can assure you. This is in the centre of Newcastle. It's not a penthouse, how you might imagine.
You don't live in Hadrian's Tower by any chance?
I don't live in Hadrian's Tower.
They look amazing, though. I would live in Hadrian's Tower.
You couldn't swing a clutch bag round in them. I did go and view them.
Yeah.
And I was like, who lives here? I mean, you literally, you've got 1 foot in the bedroom, an elbow in the kitchen, and the other one manages to turn over the TV.
Maybe I'll not move in there then. Maybe not then.
It's just
it just sounds cool.
For the money,
yeah.
I just think you get a lot more square foot somewhere else.
Fair enough.
So I had a horrible experience in that particular building. They have an eatery on the top floor.
Yes.
Which
is it 360? Is that what's called 360?
Well, it might be. All I can say is I did put a very public review on there, where I just thought it was just dreadful. It may have changed, but I just thought it was it was just dreadful. And I've worked in hospitality.
Not the experience
I wanted. So it's out there, that review, guys, if you want to find out.
We'll go find it. So you were in the same drama school. You went to drama school as well. Yes,
I did. Twice.
What was that experience like? Because you were in the same sort of... You mentioned to me that you were in some sort of group as David Tennant and some other big names and stuff. So you and War Dave living it up. What was the experience like at drama school for you? Did you learn much from it?
Well, I first went to art school when I was 16. I left home at 16. Practically, in all terms, left home around 16, and basically stayed at friends and went home occasionally for washing. And
as you do, yeah.
As you do. Not me personally, but my items of clothing. And I went to drama school at the same time as art school, and I did a foundation in theatre there. And it was from there that I won my place at the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama, which is now the Royal Scottish Conservatoire. And back when I was there, my years group, when I was there, you had Kate Dickey. She's gone on to be some people might know Kate from work like Prometheus, Alien Prometheus. She's the Scottish lassie in that. And they might also know David. She was also in Lady of the Vale. She was the Lady Stark's sister in the Game of Thrones series.
Okay, yeah.
Amongst so many other things. She's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful actress. And then David Tennant, he's done all right.
Yeah, he's
been in a few bits and pieces. Yeah. Greg Wise, he was like a year or so above me. I mean, these people were in my kind of peer group, if you like.
Yeah.
Greg Wise, he married, he's a phenomenal actor. And I do love his politics too, just for the record. And he's married to a very lovely lady called Emma Thompson, who has also done quite well.
Not bad.
In the theatre and movie world. Colin McCready, who was in my class, and he went on to do Taggart for quite a few years. And then there were, I'm sure there's dozens of others actually. It was a really good sort of couple of years of people coming out of there.
Yeah.
And what did I do? I left and ended up going into totally unrelated arenas because at 21, my hair had left the room.
Mate, same. Bro. Can relate. I don't think I've ever related to a story more on this podcast than that exact one. So there you go.
It had left the room. I at that time, we didn't have...
Did you lose it from the crown or from the front?
Oh, it just
fell out one day.
Well,
it's all gone.
It started at the front.
Yeah.
And I think what happened was I was doing a lot of dance at the academy, as well as acting and singing and stuff. And all the lads sort of like went to a number 2, and mine just never came back. It just never ever came back.
Yeah.
And actually I'm very blessed, and I think looking at your cranium that you are too, that we've got round heads.
Yes.
We don't have those weird kind
We're
of
not aliens. No,
we're not aliens.
Not Stewie Griffin or anything like that. No.
There are a lot of people out there sadly who are in our follically challenged situation who have got weird heads.
It's very unfortunate, yeah.
It is for them. So
you've got a turkey and get a transplant. It's okay. You'll be okay.
I know, but I do a lot of research in the areas of hair loss, and I have this recurring nightmare that one day I'll go to Turkey, and on the plane home, there'll be that. And finally, it's FDA approved the new gene therapy for returning your hair.
Would you want it back?
I like choices.
Okay, so you want the option to do it, but do you think you actually would do it though? Because I wouldn't.
Would definitely grow it back just to go like, nah, I'm gonna shave it off.
I wouldn't. Well, just out of spite, yeah.
yeah. I think what it is that choices. Life is about choices, and trying through your life to give yourself as many choices as possible, and give yourself many options, and that's what I've done, career-wise, lifestyle-wise, is to go. So I can very easily pivot. I think in a very changeable. The world is getting faster, and I'm sure the generation before us and the generation before that also said the world is getting faster. I think the only time that it was not getting faster was pre-industrial revolution. What happened there? Pre-industrial revolution was, Arthur's made a new spade, so that'll be good, and that'll be it. Whereas then the steam engine came along, and then electricity, and then and now we're at quantum, so everything moves really fast.
We'll be living on Mars soon.
Well, I wouldn't mind a vacation on Mars.
Hair transplant and a holiday to Mars. That's
I think we're talking same language here. I've got this ambition to live as long as I possibly can, and be as healthy as I possibly can. Hence the vast amount of supplements I take.
What supplements do you take? Just anything that you can.
I can share. Yeah. A little plug for NMN. And don't ask me to tell you what it stands for, because it's something like nanonicotinonucleotide or something like this. However, NMN, and I use a British brand, Vienamin, for it. I'm not paid for this plug, by the way, but I did the research and they are great. And basically, it slows down the telomeres. So the corruption of the telomeres. So within our DNA, we have this clock that's built in, and it's like a long string, and it gets shorter and shorter and shorter it's called a telomere. It gets shorter and shorter as we get older, and it stops us regenerating our cells as well. So that's how we start to decay and become older.
Right.
I'm out of the mind that aging is a disease, so therefore it is curable. Or at least you can slow the process down. Okay. So that's NMN, and I can tell you that I have been using it now for a year, and wow, my skin is tighter, my eyes are sharper. Like, there's just a lot more fringe benefit from it.
Okay.
At the same time, I take a nootropic complex. So for the people listening and watching, nootropic complex is basically a collection of supplements which will support your mind. So, I shorthand it by saying herbal ADHD type drugs, but then they're not even that. I support my mind with things like lion's mane, which people will have seen. A big one, yeah. Amazing. Lion's mane, shillet, all the B vitamins, transresveratrol, which is an extract from red wine. That's why they did all this research. Why did the Mediterranean diet? It's out of that Mediterranean diet. Yeah. So those things, that plus high strength omegas, so all the fish oils. Even though I do eat a lot of oily fish, and vitamin D, which everybody in the UK should be taking vitamin D.
Yes, I take it every day. I take 5 every day, to be fair, actually. I'm not quite on as many as you, but I take 5 every day. So
5 vitamin Ds?
No, Jesus. 5 different supplements, yeah. Well, I suppose maybe 6 if you include creatine as well. But,
I see. Creatine.
Yeah, gym, I know.
Yeah.
Gym bro stuff, yeah. But, have you seen that guy that wants to, live forever? And he's,
I have
doing
seen
all that
him.
Stuff? I'm like, I don't know whether I've got the patience to do everything you do just to live a little bit longer. Because in my head, right, if I'm doing everything every day just to live longer, I kind of feel like I'm not living my life. I'm just living to extend it. Do you know what I mean?
True.
There's got to be a balance.
There is a balance. And what I did was I went onto my AI assistant and I fed in all of his website. And I also fed in everything I took. And I think there's only 2 things I don't take that he takes. And they're readily available. One of them is lutein, which is great for eyes. It's eye health. Slows down eye degeneration, macular degeneration. So that I don't take. I did take, but I don't take at the moment. And I think one other thing which is readily available. But everything else I do because of the nootropics. And I just kind of happen to take all of those things. My lifestyle is very, very busy.
You couldn't do what you do without it.
That guy, the guy that we're talking about, his name escapes me. He, he does lots of strange headlines about him and his son. Yeah. Google it, guys, because I just kind of go, I don't know whether I want those kind of headlines.
Yeah, but I don't want to start rubbing semen in my face and stuff like that. I don't really want to go down that route.
No.
I'm going to age gracefully as well. But I also think when it comes to age as well, I'm one of those people that because I see so many. You'll have seen this in your life. People that are a lot older than you or whatever, you see them start to decay and the quality of life differs. And they're in constant pain. I'm just like, if I've lived a good life while I was able to, and then all of a sudden, my back starts to go and I'm paralyzed or I can't talk or I've got, just so many problems that I'm in and out of hospital. Just put me down. I don't want to.
Well, that's just been passed, isn't it? That law. So we're now going to get assisted dying, I think, aren't we? It's going into the Lords or something. That process, and I would say we do treat our pets better than we do other human beings in that respect. I think case by case. A very, very dear friend of mine, her father, I was at his funeral just a couple of weeks ago and doing his eulogy and whatever. And an amazingly talented creative, got early onset Alzheimer's and had about 15 years. Well, he left the room, I would say, probably 7 or 8 years ago. And I would never want to be like that.
Yeah.
I would have wanted to have had a living will that said, let's all, when I'm still able to say goodbye
Yeah.
and leave. That feels fair.
Yeah.
That feels humane.
Yes.
But I think our world is largely hung up on religious stuff that kind of holds us back from taking sensible views. And increasingly people are more kind of humanist, secular, non-religious, maybe spiritual, broadly spiritual, and don't have those hang-ups that come with the, Judeo-Christian Islamic stuff or that. I think people are a lot more well adjusted to accepting that this is unfair, this is not humane, and also having some power over themselves while they still can, and go like, I have autonomy, I have over my own self, so I think it would be right that people have that choice. So I welcome the new moves, to be honest. You don't have to go to Switzerland anymore. Not that I don't.
There's a film about that, Short Stay in Switzerland. I remember watching that in school about euthanasia. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, Dignitas, I think, is a famous company, isn't it?
It's like if you look at, like, for example, this isn't in my questions, but this is totally off topic. But Bruce Willis at the minute, like, obviously
I don't think he can speak now.
He can't speak. He doesn't know who he is, who anyone is. I'm just like, I mean, on the plus side, he gets to experience Die Hard for the first time, which is good. But it's like, would you want to be in that state? And people don't. I think seeing his story as well made me realize, like, sometimes you see these actors and these famous people, you think, like, it wouldn't happen to me, whatever. But he is just a man at the end of the day,
He's just a man.
Yeah.
He's just a man. And we should always remember that these are other human beings. And we often get swayed by marketing, imagery. I work in that today, how we create an illusion. And people can get carried away with believing in the illusion, and not in the reality, which is they hopefully wash their hands after they flush.
Always soap and water. Happy birthday, 2 verses or something. I think that is.
Yeah. All of
I worked in a restaurant for a long time. I know I washed my goddamn hands. But jumping off the back of that, actually, with the world of performance and the arts and stuff like that, obviously, is there anything that you remember from your time obviously in this world? You've been in it for a while. That people often get wrong about that world. Obviously, we just spoke about, like, people seeing celebrities as a bit larger than life and as unhuman almost. What do people get wrong about the side of performance?
We all want to escape. Human beings want to escape from their reality. And that's why we have entertainment. And that's why we have religion. They're one and the same in some respects.
Interesting.
They are distractions from the mundane qualities of life. We all have to eat. We all mostly procreate. We have relationships, and we have a pattern. You're born, for a heterosexual, you're born, you meet somebody, you meet several somebodies perhaps at the beginning, and then you meet somebody, and then you decide to breed, and then you stay with that person. It used to be forever. Now, and now it's kind of probably a couple of relationships, and then you leave the mortal coil. And what do we do along that journey? Well, we can see the rest of the world. We can travel. But what we actually do is along that journey is to try to keep ourselves stimulated beyond the pattern. We're given a pattern. I was raised in the north of England, and it was that you went to school, you met somebody, then you got engaged, then you got married, or a house, then married, then you had your first child, sometimes before you were married, but you had this first child, then you had that second one, and then they went away to university or college or school or work or whatever, and then you guys went on a saga holiday, and then you went in a plastic chair in a home, and then that was you.
That was life, yeah.
And that was life. But all along that journey, we've always sought some kind of entertainment to keep life worth, or feel like life is worth living. And as the world has got smaller and technology has enabled us to travel more, to see more, to do more, we have become addicted to further stimulation. Games, we've got phones, tablets, phones. We're addicted to the endorphins and the sort of serotonin rush and all of those. I'm trying to think of the right drug. Dopamine. That's what I was looking for. Is we never really saw dopamine. Human beings, I think, saw or felt dopamine's reaction when we fell in love, when we perhaps engaged in sex, and that was the dopamine. Then, as we moved into the modern ages. And more, we might feel joy when we went to the theatre and we saw that and we go, oh, that's great. I'm going to go to more, or a concert or hear
even
music.
Before that, the gladiator fights.
Yes. So exactly, we go right back in time. But whenever you went to an entertainment there, you had it. But again, it was limited supply. And then the 20th century and the 21st century, access to getting more and more dopamine, travel, gaming, mobile phones,
porn, smoking,
drugs, everything. So we become more and more, we're awash with it now. And so I think what I'm trying to get at is that for a very over-medicated human beings, this dopamines, our lives are a lot more complex because we're constantly seeking those things. And the next rush and the next thing, that we become completely distracted from what really life is about and how it can be rewarding. And I think I've gone a little bit off topic, but
no, I'm enjoying this. Keep going.
But one of the things I noted the other day was I was in the sauna. I went for the gym and I go to the sauna, and even in the sauna, I remember going to the sauna for years. I've been going. I sit there quietly. It was a place where you could sit for 10 or 15 minutes before going out for an ice bucket and then coming back in again. And you knew you had that sort of inner peace. It's too steamy to wear earbuds, guys, or anything like that. You just go in there. You're just alone with your thoughts and just chilling out. And the last 3 times I've been in there, yakety, 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 where have you been? What are you doing? And I want to kind of throw the guys that are doing this into the pool, which happens to be just feet away, the deep end. And because again, it's that sort of can't even be alone with our own thoughts.
Yes.
Now. Can't even be alone with our own thoughts. And one of the things, to go back to creativity, that I've managed to do is have those moments where I am alone a lot, with no music, with no stimulation, only my own processing, so that I can have clarity and actually create the stuff that I create. God, that was a weird.
Well, the clarity and the answers that you seek are in the silence that you're avoiding.
Exactly.
And it's like I've really at the moment got to practice just ignoring the phone, not having music. It's like my brother, for example, is 8 years younger than me, and he constantly walks around with headphones. He is diagnosed autistic, but not severely, so that might play a part. I forgive him for that. But I'm just like, can you not walk around without headphones or some sort of something
constant
playing?
Need for stimulation.
Yeah.
And distraction.
It's like running away from the thoughts in your head, but at the same time, you need to let them catch up, because otherwise you've got this backlog of all these thoughts, and that's why I think a lot of people are becoming less creative. People think people are becoming more creative with social media, but you're only seeing a small percent. I think most people are actually dimming their creativity by not giving themselves that silence.
Well, what's happened now, I believe, is with the entertainment industry. And when I talk about the entertainment industry, I'm including video games and mobile phones and apps and such in that. So broad entertainment industry has worked out, along with the food industry, before it that by triggering addictive elements, dopamine rushes, sugar, flavor enhancers and such in food and sugar, which is highly addictive, and dopamine, which is highly addictive. And it's got, whilst it has a limited supply, we keep making it, that those distractions are very useful. And they're very useful for the people and the organizations that maybe own those brands at the top of the echelons of society, politically or business-wise, that it suits them that we're all medicated.
Yeah.
Either medicated because we are taking, Adderall or any kind of American kind of, if you go to America and a lot of my friends, associates over there, they're just constantly taking pills and potions and lotions for stuff. Not in the way that I might take supplements.
Yeah, there's
but
a
I
difference,
mean,
yeah.
There's a complete difference,
Yeah.
And they're on first name terms with every painkiller.
Yeah.
And you're like, what are you doing?
Have you seen that clip? It's a viral clip, actually, and it's of these two people, and they're on a podcast like we are now, and they're talking about the medication they're on, like, oh, which one are you on for this? And it's like, when did being on medication start being a badge of honor? Like, I understand if you need it, but people don't need to know that you take all this stuff, like, unless it's beneficial, unless they say, I have this problem, do you know anything that can help? And you go, well, actually, I take this to help this. That's fair. But I think when it becomes a badge of honor that, oh, this is how many I take. I get it with supplements, it's different. But with drugs and all the pharmaceuticals, I'm like, people don't need to know everything you're taking.
No, you are right. I think that I remember I was producing on a movie a number of years ago, and which I'd sort of script doctored. It was a Hollywood picture. It was about the 1953 coup of Guatemala, and my co-producer and friend, his grandfather had been the president of Guatemala in 1953, and my friend Eric was on this production. It's got great. Still around. It's got great producers and great money and whatever, and some very large stars had been rumoured and attached to it.
Yeah.
And I went away with him, and he booked us into this place in Berlin for the Berlinale, where we were talking to other producers and stuff, the big film festival for those that don't know about it. And anyway, suddenly I realised I was sharing a twin room. I mean, it was a massive room, to be fair. And we were unpacking, and he had this wash bag. And I said, what's that? And he said, oh, it's my wash bag. And I said, what's that? It's another 2 wash bags. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's for all the other stuff. And then I was over in the States with some other friends, and they were like, oh, in their bathroom. And I remember saying, oh, you don't have any paracetamol. And he went, oh, yeah, top cupboard. And I just opened the cupboard, and it's like a pharmacy in there.
Yeah.
And I went, what's all this? Oh, that's my dailies. Your dailies? What on earth are you taking? We're like, oh, well, I take this for that and this for that. And this is my up and this is my down. And this is when I feel like this. I'm like, crikey, go for a run and eat a banana. Go for
something heavy. Yeah.
Go for a run, eat a banana. What the hell? So...
Quick fix.
I think the Americans are very medicated.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Very medicated. And then if you add to their diet, not only the pills, potions, but you add the amount of processed food they consume.
Yes.
I'm a frequent visitor to the US of A. I have to admit, since the recent regime change, I have not attended. But I did actually, was in the US the time when Mr. Trump was the president the first time round, had gone for Paddy's weekend to New York. But anyway, I digress. But the amount of food, like, I like
insane.
It's
insane.
And I just look at what's in their stuff. I had a couple of guys in our studio recently, one from New Jersey, one from Washington DC. And they were at a shoot, and we were just, shooting the breeze. And they were like talking about our food and like going, yeah, like everything tastes better here, and everything's just tastes like what it's supposed to taste like. Like it says it's, if it's strawberry, it really is strawberry.
Yeah.
I said, well, what do you think strawberry tastes like? Well, it doesn't taste like that in the US of A. And I was like, well, and I love their candy. Some of their kind of candy I've gone out, except Hershey bars, which taste like vomit.
I'm not a fan of those. I don't rate them.
They do taste like vomit. They taste like vomit for a reason, because it's the same chemical. It's because they use a different. They used to use, I think it's like condensed milk or something. Because when Hershey came around, the chocolate, they didn't have fresh milk. It was too hot or something, so they used some kind of milk that they used, and it had this in it. So Americans got used to that.
Yeah.
So. But it is the same chemical smell as vomit. Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. There you go.
Yeah, no, well, Google it. It's there. Yeah. But just the amount of processed food they have. So I do feel for our American cousins at the moment, because when they say, they're dumbed down, it's like, they're medicated and they're eating lots of processed food and they don't really know what's going on. And these American guys were like, we've been here 4 months, I never felt fitter, more healthy.
Yeah.
And we're complaining about some of the stuff we eat now.
But then when we go to, like you said, like places like the Mediterranean diet and stuff, we're like, oh my God, I feel so much better.
Oh, yeah. Great, a week in Portugal, I go to Lisbon a lot, and a week in Portugal, eating the food there, and I eat lots more. I lose weight.
Mm-hmm. It's just, it's
like I'm eating lots more. The only processed thing is I like cured meats.
Yes.
But, they're when I'm getting the cured meats, they have a very short shelf life, because they're not like cured and soaked in whatever to keep them on a shelf forever. Yeah. They're like, this was sliced today, eat it. Done. It's very traditional.
Yes, yeah.
And the same, I think, Spain, Italy, Southern Italy, you get a lot of that.
The Italian meats are fantastic. But speaking of being heavily medicated, you ended up working in the club scene. So how did you, you like that segue there? So how did you get into the club scene, and what mischief did you cause?
Okay, so we have to go back to the late 90s. And
I bet the 90s club scene was a hell of a good time.
It was a good time. I dallied with clubbing twice. Once in the very early 90s.
Because before you got into this, you said you never really bothered with them.
Yeah, I did it. I didn't. Yeah, but just a little bit. I mean, it was a toe in the water thing. Mm-hmm. I used to run an after club, in Wakefield, and with a guy called Steve Fox, who's quite a kind of known guy on the White Isle, aka Ibiza, or Ibiza, for those that know how to say it properly. And anyway, it's sort of late 90s, early 90s would have been. And there was a thing called the Outback Cafe just off Westgate in Wakefield, which is not very far from Leeds. Because it's sort of Wakefield's sort of an interchangeable, Manchester, Leeds, Sheffield, a bit of an interchange. So what would happen is at sort of 3 a.m. when the clubs closed, people would come to this after caf where we would have DJs that had come from here, there, and everywhere. Some of these clubs still are around. You got Back to Basics, you had Up You Ronson, you had Vague, you had Gatecrasher over in Sheffield, whatever. All those early things, and there's a time when Cream would have been around, early Cream in Liverpool, and so on. Anyway, a lot of those party goers and some of the DJs would kind of converge on this caf, and it wouldn't sell alcohol. I mean, you could buy alcohol, but generally people would go for like milkshakes and fruit press and all of these things.
Sounds like an American diner, yeah.
Yeah, but be dancing on the tables.
Yeah.
Because perhaps they had been somewhat enhanced by consumables during their night at the club and needed to somehow get this out of the system. And I worked in the SCAF. It was great fun. So I did dally in the club scene a little. I did go to a couple of clubs around Leeds at that time. And then I left it. And when I went back to Glasgow in 95, I ended up working in marketing, sales, became a training and development director for major PLCs, worked for a large portion of the Fortune 500, 30 or 40 of them as a consultant and as a trainer and as all sorts of things, and including, big names like Toyota, and I worked for, I think, Chase Manhattan, and I also ended up working for the United States Embassy, amongst many other kind of big outfits. Anyway, a guy comes into my hemisphere, gorgeous guy, Finn, and he said, "Do you want to come to this club?" Which was at the legendary Arches in Glasgow, which is underneath Central Station. So Railway Arches, huge. Their capacity was 2,500, I think.
Nice.
Several arches, 7, I think, in total. And I went to a club there called Fruit Fly, which was at that time ran by a friend, Gordon Band, a DJ duo called Fisher and Price. Yes,
I like that.
And these toys were not to be toyed with. So Fisher and Price and Bob, lovely Bob, and all from Edinburgh, and they run a club which still celebrates its original club, which is called Taste for Extroverts and Perverts. It's a Sunday night club, and it still does the occasional party. And Fisher and Price, who I love dearly. I mean, all of them I love dearly, Gordon and the like. Anyway, they had this thing called Fruit Fly at the Arches, which was at that time a mixed club. So by mixed, that was where you might find straight people and gay people and bisexual people. And today we wouldn't use those labels because we're more evolved.
Yes.
So you would find a panoply or a pantheon of sexualities converging under the dome of club. And it was sensational. And I think after 2 visits, I became the promoter of that club for them and adopted several character personas. One of them was Johnny Pornstar, who you mentioned at the outset. Another one was Sailor Boy. Another one was Ruby Ring. Ruby Ring was a drag character.
Can you still do the voice?
She was a transatlantic woman, and I am refusing to do the voice, for the record. But yeah, so she was thigh-length leopard skin boots, swing
classy.
leopard skin jacket, beehive, tortoiseshell glasses, overmade. Kind of, for those people that remember early Coronation Street, she was a sort of Elsie Tanner, Bet Lynch on steroids. She was just a character, though. I played her like a character, like I did Johnny Pornstar, who had a mullet and was padded in certain areas. Nice. And Sailor Boy was Cargo's white vest and a little pork pie white hat.
That's very classic. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So a very Pierre Gilles kind of Jean Genet kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was great. I was fit as a butcher's dog. I went from working in corporate and being sort of 3 stone heavier and getting down to sort of 12.5, 13 stone and ripped.
It's all the drugs from the club. That's what
I know. Well, I will neither admit nor deny. But what I can say is that I thoroughly enjoyed that 2.5, 3 years. I ended up working in Ibiza. I did stuff at Circo Loco over there. I remember being on the terrace at Space. I remember being at the launch of Pasha at Punku, which was Paul Oakenfold's album. I, very good friends with the Money Pennies guys down in Birmingham, who were doing El Divino back then. So and Charlie Chester and all these amazing people.
Yeah.
I remember partying with Roger Sanchez, Eric Milo, Paul Van Dyke, Eric Milo no longer with us, rest his soul. Danny Tenaglia, Cox, that's Carl. Loads of really amazing DJs, and having a wonderful time. And then I decided that was it. And I was still in Glasgow. I created a marketing agency. I left promoting, and just sought out something else and detoxed my life. Got out. There are people I know today who still enjoy the party scene and look like they still do.
Yeah.
They very much look like they do. They look wrung out, to be honest.
I know a few people that I've had people on Facebook that I went to school with and stuff, and I still see them out in nightclubs, and I'm like, I'm 29. I'm like, I'll go to a club. I'm like, it's too loud. There's too many people. I've become that person, which I never thought I would be. And now I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I always aged faster than a lot of people. I don't know why. I've got this theory that I'm actually older than I am, but my parents have lied to me my entire life. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. But I just think after a certain point, I'm like, I'm done. Once you've got it out your system, I'm like, some people just stay in it, like you said, forever. And I'm
they do. They live it and breathe it. And I think I mean, all I need to do is hear the right vibes, and I don't need any other kind of stimulation. No alcohol, no Red Bull.
I don't drink when I go.
Other,
I always if I go to a club, I take the car, not into the club, but like I take it to town and park up, and I'm just like, well, I can't drink.
I've been to clubs where they do drive in.
Isn't there a drive up club in like Dubai and stuff like that where you can drive your car into the club and stuff?
I think there is something, but it won't be the kind of club that I would maybe go to. Is where it's like, I mean, Ibiza today, God knows how much tickets are, but I remember like back then you would pay like 30 euros or whatever to get into certain clubs, or 40 euros. I think it'd be considerably more to go to that drive-in club in Dubai.
Especially with my car. Did you see my car outside, the 2005 Renault Clio that's parked outside? I can't imagine that pulling.
I thought that was a lady's car.
No, it's my car. Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry, forgive me. I don't.
Do you know what? I got it for £1,000. It runs fine. It gets me from A to B. I don't need a fancy car.
I'm not judging you.
You are a little bit, but it's fine. I appreciate it.
I just assume little cars, little tiny cars.
I'm not exactly tall, bro. I'm only like average height on a good day. So
okay,
that's why I wear boots quite a lot.
Well, what height are you, Adam?
5'8".
Oh, I admit to being. I think I got measured recently, for a lot of reasons, and I think I'm 5'7" and like
an extra
10/11 or something.
Okay.
So like I'm like just shy of 5'8". But I'm wearing a cap, and I did have like these have got a little tiny kitten heel.
I can't even add up with the hair. Do you know what I mean? Like some people add an extra inch or two with like a coiffed up
They
hair.
They do. So yeah, clubs. So I had a great time, and I worked with some amazing people, and I've been in club situations where we've hired DJs who have been some extremely well-known DJs. Who?
Do you want a name drop?
I've already said quite a lot of them. I don't think I've mentioned Morales. I don't think I've mentioned Kerry Chandler. I don't think I've mentioned, another 50 that Corvin Dalek, Tom Stefan, my dear friend Rob DiStefano, who is incredible. He owned a label called Tribal. And he also worked with Peter Rauhofer on Star 69,
nice.
Which is... Sadly, Peter passed away a number of years ago, but still his mixes of the like early Madonna, are sensational. And of all the people I've just mentioned there, I would always, anybody who's interested in good house music from all its genres within its genre, I would always seek out Peter Rauhofer, Star 69, tracks on Star 69. That label was in Sensation, and Tribal, Rob DiStefano, who's a music producer and a great old friend living in New York now, with his partner. So, yes, it took me, though, 15. The reason that I take all these supplements is it took
to make up for those years.
It took me about 15 years to make up for that. Absolutely. So, the depletion of serotonin from taking or
and
indulging.
Lack of sleep as well.
The lack of sleep really had an effect on me. The great thing about all the supplements, going back to that, is that now I have got that recall. So I can have that conversation with you, Adam, that said, so when you said performing, like what was the first, and I talk about record player, and I know it was a Donna Summer track because I've now got that.
Your memories come back.
Yeah. Well, my mum will say stuff to me like, oh, do you remember when such and such did X or Y? And I go, no, it was this person. It was on this day, and they were wearing that dress.
I feel like I need to take some of these supplements that you're taking.
Well, you do.
You can give me a list afterwards, actually.
I will share my list.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned to me on the phone, just of your own personal experience with this. So you mentioned something to me, because we were talking about sexuality and things like that, which is quite often a debate on the show. And you said something like your sexuality is more of a footnote in your life rather than a personality.
Yes.
And I really like that, because we kind of spoke about how a lot of people nowadays, sexuality it's like the forefront of their personality. So can you tell me a little bit more about, like, expand on your thoughts behind that?
Gladly. Sorry, I'm just hydrating.
No, it's fine, yeah.
So, who somebody sleeps with is nobody's business, as long as it's legal. That's it.
Yes.
I find people who present themselves as their sexuality first, in any context, is sad. Now, I am old enough. I walked on marches. I held placards. I met a guy on Arran recently, in the last year or so, who I knew back in the early 90s when I worked as a volunteer in Scotland at Scottish AIDS Monitor. And I did some volunteering and we did some buddying. And these were from people in the very early 90s where if you did get HIV, it would turn into AIDS.
Yes.
And you were probably going to die.
Yes.
So I did that. And the chap that I met, there was this guy that used to come in who was one of the senior youth workers. And everybody thought it was amazing. This guy was hot. He was a good-looking man. He was, everybody liked him. The girls loved him. The boys loved him. He was such a lovely man. And I'd forgotten about him because it was a long time ago. I was on Arran. This lovely guy's called Eric. And my friend on Arran, who's in his 80s, one of my oldest friends, he kept on going on about this guy, Eric. So eventually, I end up doing a lunch with this Eric. And I'm sat opposite this guy. And I had a look. And I went, "Are you Eric that worked at Scottish AIDS Monitor?" And he went, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I used to volunteer in the early 90s. And we had a conversation. And we had a little bit of recall. And because of all the supplements and all the sort of stuff I fed my brain, I was able to give him remarkable detail. And so to go back to sexuality, in my view, is fluid. Whether you have male partners or female partners, whether you have a combination of the two during any one set period, we put ourselves in boxes because our parents put themselves in boxes, who put themselves in boxes. And actually, just because you sleep with someone of the same sex on once or twice occasion does not define the rest of your life. Equally, if it's the opposite sex. So whilst I absolutely agree that we need visibility, and say, look, we're just part of the human panoply of sexualities. Great. I mean, great. Yeah. But I refuse to be known as a bit like when they put actors in the papers and they go, Craig Wilde, 43, or Adam Proud, 29, Julia Roberts, 52. They put that in. And it's like their age is there to define them. And there are many people and there are quite a few in this region, but they're right across the UK, where you have people who say, I am Joe Bloggs, Mr. Gay this, or Mr. Bisexual this, or Miss Lesbian 1850, or whatever. And it's sort of there as a tag, like they're wearing a sash all the time with this award on, and I go, oh, now I have other views around gender. I think that gender is a sex is defined at birth. Gender is defined by you, and that can be chemical, lots of things, and you can change your gender. And you can change your sex through surgery. And I think ultimately the body, the human being, is inside. It's an energy. And that this body is the casing that you're in. And at the moment, in this lifetime, I'm in a male body. And I respond to other men and other women in certain ways. When I come back, because I might, in another body, I might have the outside casing of a female and react in different ways. So, or who knows, I might decide in my 60s that I feel more feminine and wish to be gender reassigned. Or, yeah, and I might do that, and that's my choice. And there are people out there that do that.
Do like a full Eddie Izzard kind of thing, yeah?
Well, yeah, Susie, I think it's wonderful. Just look at, I always people get hung up about the 0.01%. And I love my trans friends. And some of them have, over the years, I've known people who've part transitioned from one to another. And then latterly, for whatever reason, transitioned back.
Yeah.
They haven't necessarily gone through complete surgeries and stuff. So they were able to do that. I think it's wonderful. I think it's amazing that we can be ourselves. And the fact is, a lot of those, sorry to say, old white men running the place seem to get us all fixated on the wrong 1%. And by the way, we're talking about the 0.01% who might be trans. They're part of us. They've been around forever. They're just like gay people have been around forever. Straight people around forever. It's just part of being human. And I think we get so obsessed with that. The media gets us so obsessed with that. They're getting us focused on the wrong 1%.
Yeah,
the 1% we really need to be talking about.
This,
the 1% we really need to be talking about is those guys running the show. The guys not paying tax. The guys not contributing to the rest of society. Those guys who are getting us all fighting amongst ourselves and not looking and going, hang on a minute. I mean, one of the great jokes... it's a joke that we have 10 pies in the world. 10 pies on this table, you and I, Adam, and we allow the 0.1% to take 8 or 9 of these pies, and then their friends who own all the media tell us to go, oh, guys, the brown people, the trans people, the yellow people, the aliens are all going to come and steal your 1 pie, so you just, guys, get on that. That's the bit that we should talk about. That's the bit that winds me up. That, we're all here on the same rock, spinning at gazillion miles an hour, hurtling through space, through the Milky Way. We're all here for a set time. If you're a spiritual or spiritually philosophical or a religious person, you might believe you're going to come back. You might not.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, for the time you hear, the 80 years or whatever, if you're lucky, really lucky, in the Western world, if you're in certain parts of the world, Middle East or certain parts of Africa, you might get 5 minutes, or less. We need to focus on the right 1%. We need to be going, guys, we need to sort this out. Politics is about to change. I don't know. I think it's the word is that something like 80 to 100 years, the human cycle comes round again, and we have a polarizing moment, and we either go further right or further left. Now, in the past, in the 1930s, we lurched towards the right, and its other extreme, the far, far left. Those two extremes were out. Eastern Europe, we knew was going extreme left. Extreme right happened Germany, it happened in Spain, it happened in Italy. So we have Franco, we have Salazar in Portugal, we've got Mussolini in Italy, and we obviously have Mr. H over in Germany.
You can say his name, or is it like a Voldemort?
Oh, just like a Voldemort word. I don't want to give it just in case it gets tagged on the podcast and suddenly people start going, "Ooh, celebration!" Because there are people with skinheads like you and
I was just gonna say
they might look at us saying that and suddenly go, "There's our tribe, guys."
We spoke about Hitler so much on this podcast, to be fair.
Yeah,
I put a guy on twice now called Sam, and we've spoke about Hitler.
And he's and apparently a great great painter.
So I've heard.
So, I think it's about to change. I think the 1% that we should be focusing on know this. I believe, and I'm not being conspiracy, I'm not being David Icke, although weirdly, some of the stuff that David Icke used to go on about, which was conspiracy theory, has all come true, by the way. Not saying I'm kind of a devotee of that guy, but, some things go like, I think, again, there's the argument that says, say enough stuff and eventually you're right, It's a bit like...
That's what I hope for when I make a podcast,
yeah. But I believe it's understood that's the case. And I think billionaires are absolutely putting their money, as we saw at a recent inauguration. The bros are putting their money on the right. Mm-hmm. They know that if they don't win this battle, what comes next is not pretty for them. Mm-hmm. Because it's we stretch our world so far, but there is a natural middle, mm-hmm. and it snaps back. So what tends to happen is we go to the extreme, mm-hmm. the elastic band snaps and pulls right back, yes. and it goes the other direction, and then eventually just settles down into the 1950s, mm-hmm. where we have that lovely halcyon period where everybody's great, And then what happens is we slowly, because human beings, again, get addicted to the dopamine, mm-hmm. And the endorphins and the sugar and all those other things they feed us with. It's not coincidental that a lot of cigarette companies moved into food production mm-hmm. in the 1950s.
The more addicted, the better.
That's how. Yeah, it's weird that. I mean, I'm not saying I believe this. I'm just saying I've just done my research.
Yeah, it's such a. I mean, I love conspiracy theories. I don't put much focus into tinfoil hat kind of things, but I enjoy listening to them.
Well, yeah, I think you just have to look and say, well, what did those businesses diversify into? And they diversified away from tobacco. Or kept tobacco going, but they diversified into food.
Well, I'm just waiting for the zombie outbreak. Personally, that's just my personal future that I want is a zombie outbreak. But speaking of keeping the population distracted, you had a career on TV.
Yeah, occasionally I do bits and pieces.
Yeah, so you were on MTV Dance, is that right?
Yeah, so when I was doing the club thing, I did some stuff on MTV Dance, mm-hmm. a little bit of hosting on bits and pieces that went on there.
What was your hosting persona like? Can you give us a taste? Can you
but you've heard the characters already. I
haven't heard enough characters. I need more voice acting. I love
voice acting. I was either a Johnny Pornstar or a Ruby Ring. Or
was
whatever.
Johnny Pornstar like a Johnny Bravo type voice or?
No, he was just he was American. They were all American. Apart Sailor Boy wasn't American, but Ruby was American and Johnny Pornstar was American. Mm-hmm. They were, it was a brief period. There was another channel out there as well called Rapture, which I think is now defunct. But Rapture went out on Sky, and that was kind of extreme sports and clubbing. Mm-hmm. So their programming was extreme sports, snowboarding, and the like at the time.
Yeah,
and a lot of Red Bull kind of activity.
Yeah.
And then clubs. And I was on those quite a few times. There was a couple of documentaries done on me, one on Rapture, one on STV, about my life as this club promoter. It was all these different people.
Were you the same in that instance? Were you the same kind of person that you are now, or did you kind of turn on a bit of performing arts, so to speak?
I've always been the same person.
So you don't have like a sort of an online in front of camera personality than you do.
Oh, yeah. I like I'm an actor.
Yeah. But is it much different?
I think I may have been a little bit different. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure I was because I've evolved.
Yes.
And I'm constantly evolving, so I'll be different again in a week. But I think that we've all got personas.
Yeah.
I made a point very, very recently that I'm trying to unify the person at home and the person who's public and try to bring those together a lot more. I heard, I can't remember quite now who it was, the philosopher that was talking about it, and it might have been on one of Stephen Bartlett's shows or maybe Chris Williamson's shows or whatever. They had a chap on talking about how our personalities, we get to a certain point in our life where they do converge, because we are lots of people to lots of different people. We have different hats and different faces. And because I'm the CEO of a group of companies, I'm a performer, I'm a producer, I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm all of these different things. And quite often you can have different versions of yourself for those.
Yeah.
And I made a point recently of trying to converge all of that into one, into somebody I'm happy with. And apparently at this point in my life, that's when that happens anyway. And I was like, oh, I thought I discovered something. And then you watch our podcast and we're like, no, everybody's doing it. This is what happens when you're past the 40 mark, and then you start to consolidate your personality. Yeah, because I think my voice and stuff, I've always had this voice, but I wasn't as confident about being myself.
Yes.
And often I would have much more throwaway, lighter voice. I think it's because I wanted people to think I was a bit dumb, maybe.
Interesting.
Because I always think that people are kinder to dumb people.
And the guard goes down too, yeah.
And the guard goes down. More for them. But yeah, I mean... So
that's interesting, because we did speak on the phone about you, because I asked you more about the being on the sort of the edges of everything going on and whatnot, and you were like, I think maybe it's a little bit of shyness and maybe it's a bit of confidence issues.
Yeah, I think I can be shy about. I mean, I'm quite happy to be anybody, but sometimes not me.
Yeah,
and it's in recent years I've gone, oh no, just to be a bit more anchored. And a lot of my close friends go, God, if anybody could just see you, like the person we all know you are. And I was like, yeah, but like I just feel a bit vulnerable by that, and that someone's just come out and gotcha moments or any,
yeah.
Because I do, I've lived a long time so far, and there will be things that I'm not like, that I go like, well, I'm not totally proud of that bit, but I've spent a long time kind of working on myself since, and we all make mistakes. We're all human beings, and I've tried to get better. There are some people that never evolve.
Yeah. But what I think it comes from is because I was a kid in school that would never put his hand up. I didn't talk to many people. I wasn't exactly cool. I don't know whether you can tell. But
I've seen the photographs.
Yeah, you've seen the photographs of the hairstyles. Yeah, exactly. But it took me to a point where I started to realize that the way that I could build my confidence and the way that I could become who I was happy with was to stop being scared of everything, but live through curiosity more than anything else. Because what I discovered was people were telling me that, yeah, I need to try this, I need to try this, I need to try this. And that was kind of how I lived my life, was just saying, well, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do this. But when I actually sat back and thought, what am I actually curious about? What intrigues me the most? And when I followed that sort of route, that led me to more experiences. And those experiences, because I was so curious, and it wasn't just, well, I should do this or I should do that. Because I was more curious, I had more, it was just, everything was more interesting. And I was remembering these experiences and going, well, I was curious about being on camera. So when I did that, I was like, ooh, that's how I need to tweak it. Because when I started on camera, I was an arrogant, cocky little prick. And you can find that. I mean, I don't know whether you ever saw the old videos of me, but I was a cocky, arrogant little prick. Right? But it took me to go through that and be curious about that phase to get to a place where I can be like, actually, I don't need to be this person. I've now pushed through that and I can actually communicate in an effective way. And it's like, I think you've got to go through that. But again, it's curiosity and doing things for the experience of doing it is what built me up to I guess you could say, the guy I am today. So
yeah, and that process will continue.
Yeah,
and
the evolution of you.
You should, well, absolutely. You have to keep growing and I'm all, when I've been going on about overstimulation and all of these things, and us getting wrapped up in sugar and wrapped up in processed food and wrapped up in games and playing with their phones constantly and all of those kind of overstimulation. But I do believe in stimulating yourself and challenging yourself.
Yes.
And driving yourself forward. People say, oh, Craig, you do so much. How do you do it? And I said, well, I don't have a hobby. I have a life. I make a living from it. Sometimes I'm great, sometimes not so great.
Yeah.
But that's what I do. And now I've got to the point where we are always striving to make a decent living and be able to go like, okay, we've got money in the bank and that's great, which has become more and more challenging over the recent years. And I think that's for everybody, because everything has got more and more and more expensive. But I think that we should try and enrich ourselves at the same time, so that even if we're not making lots of money, we're still getting richer in other ways. So whilst I do a lot of projects where I don't really make very much out of it financially, but there are other rewards which are just as valid and just as enriching. We set up a podcast network, didn't really make any money out of it, and we're still running it. And we've got, all the new shows are about to kick in September. But it's an investment. Yeah. And the connections I've made have spun out into being paid work and paid this and that, so one gets things. Likewise, we meet a lot of emergent artists, creators who come in the studio when we go, we've got a couple of rates. We've got a rate for your creative agency, and we've got your rate for editorial for chaps and chappesses who want to come in and want to kind of develop their stuff. And if I'm around and they ask me and I like them, usually I like them, I'll give them the benefit of my insight and say, I'm not here to tell you about your brand, but have you thought of this, this, and this, and have you tried this, and this? And if at the very least they go away and think about it, sometimes they have thought about it. A lot of times they haven't. But those bonds enrich, so I feel I'm giving them something and they're giving something to me. And it's not necessarily always about cash. It's sometimes about the greater thing.
Legacy.
The legacy. I suppose legacy. Legacy sounds like I'm about to die.
But it's what you're going to leave behind, though, because all these people are going to... I mean, obviously, you know Luke, who I work with, who I mentioned loads on this podcast. And as soon as I mentioned that you were coming on, his face lit up because he remembered... I mean, I don't know what you guys... I know he was a half-naked shop boy back in the day. Sorry, Luke, just exposing your past. But, it's like...
Listen, we're talking about exposing Luke's past here. There is a cutout in the window outside the gym of his ass.
Yes, there is.
And I looked up and went, is that the gym? And I saw the ass and went, yep, that's the gym.
Because Luke works there,
I recognise that butt.
I've seen it way too much as well. I've stopped looking up at that window, I've ignored it, but I've seen it.
I'm glad you kind of pointed out you've seen it way too much and looking up the window, because I was just kind of going, how is he seeing his ass so much? It is because of the cutout.
It's not just the cut. I've filmed it.
Oh, you
many
filmed it?
Yes,
many times.
Yeah, never. I'd very rarely a bare ass, but it's normally like we'd do some stupid skit in a thong or something like that.
Okay.
So, which it's all out there for the world to see anyway. So
I'm now going googling him in a thong.
I'll send it to you afterwards.
I don't think I've ever seen Luke in a thong.
It's an image that stays with you. Man.
Okay. Okay.
But have you ever found it hard being in the spotlight? With that sort of shyness and confidence side, does being in the spotlight ever... Because I've found this a lot with people who've pushed themselves through, into the limelight in front of the camera or whatever, who are more on the introverted side or more shy or whatever. But then they can obviously turn it on for the cameras, but there's always a conflict there, because you're like, well, if you're an introvert, how are you getting in front of the camera?
Yeah,
so
I'm not an introvert.
No, yeah.
I'm mostly a low-key extrovert most of the time, and then I can switch it on. It's a job. Thursday night I was at I presented my new musical, Harper Thursday and the Magic Lantern, which is a family musical using lots of IP that people will know, from Peter Pan, from Wizard of Oz and such. And I because it was a concert version, we would call it a showcase, but for the public it was called a concert version. So they performed the script with script, and then they sing all the big numbers. And there was some puppetry and there's like costume and stuff, and it was at the Common Room. And I had pre-recorded all my intro bits, once upon a time, blah 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 blah. And the director, Jake Murray, who's sensational, and he's worked on all of my work last few years, he was like, Craig, I think we could do this live. And I'm like, oh. What, Jake? And he goes, well, it would just be, you're so engaging and it'd be great and you've got the voice and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
So Thursday night, in a top hat, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. And I did it, and I can do it. I can do it standing on my head.
Yeah.
But I choose not to as much as possible, because I think with this particular piece, for example, is I felt, even though I wrote it with a wonderful Paul G. Clarke, who's an incredible composer, we wrote this musical, and it's not mine now. Like I wrote the story, I wrote the lyrics, helped with the melodies, Paul did the rest of the music, and then there's a full cast. There's a director. There's set, costume, makeup. It's not mine anymore. It's a collective, creative process.
Yeah.
And I think by me being up front, it feels like I don't know if anybody remembers Little Britain, but they used to do a skit of a guy called Dennis Waterman, who would sit with his agent and go like, "I wrote the theme tune,"
but he was a real guy as well.
Yeah, and he did do exactly starred in it, and I don't want to be like that.
Quite all I'm going to see you as.
Yeah, thank you, bitch. But the thing where it's because I do so much. Mm-hmm. It's very easy for me to put my name on all the credits.
Yes,
and I do make a point of going. The show's produced by Niltoni Entertainment. My business partner is down as co-producer. Rarely do I list myself on something like that as producer, even though I was. And I will put, so the company name goes first. My business partner's in there. I'm down as book, which is what you call the script really in musical terms. Book and lyrics, me, music, Paul G. Clarke, and then everybody else. Because I think it just sounds a bit much.
A bit up yourself, maybe.
I think, yeah, because in the UK, we have a lovely phrase called tall poppy syndrome. And having lived in Scotland as well as down south in London, we have it right across the country, the United Kingdom. In the south of England, they have tall poppy syndrome, where literally they grow the cornfield and the poppy's head pops above it and they snip it off. In Glasgow, they use a lawnmower. And that's what they do. And that's probably why I live in Newcastle. So so you're not quite using a lawnmower up here, but it's certainly a little bit keener with the scissors than perhaps they might be so down south. In the United States, they would be like, "No, Craig, you got to put your name on the lights. We want you're the producer, you're the singer, we want it big. You're amazing, And there are artists like Lin-Manuel Miranda, who I admire deeply, who has got his name all over it, with Hamilton. And rightly so, he's a phenomenon. He's a phenomenon. But in the UK, that don't wash.
But it's just not for you as well, yeah.
It's not, yeah, I just think it's like, I don't want to, I think it has to be important. Everybody should feel important that puts together any kind of work that I get involved in. Everybody's doing their best creative self to drive.
People will respect that as well, though. It's like I've gotten into this habit now where if I do 90% of some work and someone does 10%, it's like I want them to take as much credit as I've got for the same thing. Yeah. Like, because it just makes me feel better, and I know it encourages other people. You know what I mean? Like, I used to work in a restaurant, so it was just loads, obviously, staff everywhere. Like, you had people who were the waiters, the busboys, whatever, and it was like always treat everyone the same. Make sure everyone's appreciated. Everyone knows that like the role is the role, and everyone's sort of working together. It just makes such a nice environment. But people respect it when you haven't got your head up your own arse.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm confident enough in myself that I know what I've achieved.
You don't need that.
I don't need it. I go like, well, it's a bit like when you were talking, you spoke to me originally. I was like, well, it's all out there. Mm-hmm. And it's been curated, so I'm quite happy for it to be out there. Mm-hmm. I'm not. Occasionally I do get people misassociate me. Okay. My girlfriend Laura, who runs a little French restaurant in the city called Côte, she was telling some of her staff about the Harper musical, and she went, "Oh yeah, Craig Wilde, is that the guy that was in James Bond?" Because sometimes when you Google Craig Wilde, randomly Daniel Craig comes up. If only I looked like Daniel Craig.
I think you're pretty close.
Do you know what, right? Stop flirting, Adam.
I flirt with everyone that comes.
Do you really? Yeah. Oh, no, I don't feel so special.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't feel so special now.
I get told off by caller all the time. She's like, you flirt on with your male guests quite often. I'm like, yeah. But it's fun. I enjoy it. So, but it's like, being in the spotlight and stuff, and being part of the whole world of online and putting yourself out there and stuff. We talked about social media. Right, and the image that we portray, because you were when I asked you to come on here, you kind of weren't sure.
Yeah, because I know, you're not the first person to ask me, Adam.
Mm-hmm. Well, now I don't feel special.
Well, that's good. I tit for tat. I'm very cautious about media.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as you know, I curate. So I just think it's like, I want autonomy.
Yes.
You know, I don't want to be misquoted. I'm quite happy to sit here and I'm very much I think, left of centre, socially and politically minded individual.
Mm-hmm.
I'm, when it comes to politics, when it comes to gender, sexuality, you just be the best you can be. On the sexuality front, on the gender front, whatever. I celebrate it. I want everybody to be themselves. You're on this planet at the same time as me. You do that. When it comes to politics, yeah, I'm left. And I think it's so easy on those two subjects to get cancelled for saying the wrong phrase in the wrong way. So I'm very mindful of that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, the other day, not the other day, and I remember a couple of years people saying somebody was pansexual, and I thought that was people who had sex in kitchens. And that was, and that was my throwaway comment joke, if you like,
it's fun,
because I was like, I'm not keeping up with this, but I will catch up and I'll respect it.
Yeah. I'm happy to be, like, if I said something like that, I'm happy to be corrected. What I'm not happy with is when people, like, just charge for you like an angry bull with such anger and hatred because you misspoke or misquoted. And it's like, I don't want to listen. If I said something wrong, just be like, look, mate, like my dad, for example, sometimes says like politically incorrect things.
I'm sure my dad, if he'd be alive today, he did it all through his life. He would only have got worse.
But it's like, imagine if he says the wrong thing and I'm like, Dad, you can't fucking say that. Oh my God, how dare you? But do you know what I mean? It just doesn't fit the punishment doesn't fit the crime, you know? And I feel like people are too quick to just jump on people for saying the wrong thing, like, oh, you misspoke, like maybe you should try saying this. It's like, cool,
misspoke.
Thank you. Yeah.
And like, what's the word, what's in that, unaliving someone. We've got unaliving, we've got unaliving, misspoke. God, there's another one that they use in political fluff, which drives me nuts. I go, he lied. It's genocide. It is genocide, guys. And all of those kinds of like hovering around using bubble speak or word salad. And forgive me, some of this interview, I think when it gets played back, will sound like word salad, where, my brain's trying to process what I'm trying to say. But
that just shows that you're human, though. That's what I like about podcasts, is because I was making 10, 15-minute YouTube videos of me ranting or whatever. In some to try and fit it into that time frame is quite hard because your brain's going a million miles an hour trying to get all the main points out and then go like, share, subscribe at the end, right? Yeah. With a podcast, you've got like an hour and a half, 2 hours to give as much context to you as possible. I mean,
you just edit it down to the kind of.
No, I don't. This is the good thing about what I like doing about my podcast is I don't have adverts and I don't have cutouts. I'll pause it if someone needs to go for a pee, or like in the last episode, I think Axel had to take a phone call, like I'll jump, cut it there and then continue, because I just think it makes people sound more relatable, more human, and it's like joining in on an actual conversation. So I'm like, if someone says something daft and then I don't need to cut it out, because there's a good chance they're going to then fix that point later on with more context. That's why it's better than these 15-minute YouTube videos where you're trying to rant everything out. It's like, I switched to podcast because if someone's got a problem with something I've said, there's a good chance if you actually took the time to go back to the other, I know this is episode 51 now, you go back the other 50 episodes, you'll get a better idea of what I'm talking about than if you just saw 30-second clip out of context.
Did you see yourself as a sort of Joe Rogan kind of vibe at the beginning?
No, I don't. There was no one that I really tried to emulate. There was a few podcasts that I obviously like to listen to.
What are they?
So the original one that got me started was the Norse Mentality, which was this guy who runs a gym in some little small town in America. But I just really liked the way he spoke and the things that he would talk about in the gym. I listened to this guy from Vegas called Michael Sartain. He's really good. I've listened to Stephen Bartlett a little bit, but not so much. But This Tastes Funny as well.
He likes a little bit of Lace Taste.
Yes,
Funny.
I do. Matt Reed and Amy Dolby. Yes, absolutely.
Amy's been on the show.
Yeah,
so
Matt. So's Matt.
Yeah, as Matt as well.
Yeah. Matt was one of the first ones I had on. Yeah,
really, I love Matt and Amy Dolby. They're great chemistry together. We're building them a set at the moment for their new show.
Like a proper kitchen set?
That's what they're getting, a kitchen set.
Nice.
Yeah. Did they mention it?
No, I'm just kidding.
Right,
sorry, I'll cut that bit out.
Yeah, no, they're getting a kitchen set. We've got rid of phase 1 of the musical kind of project, and we're moving into getting regurgitating everything. So yeah, I think they're funny. Yeah. I think on the Christmas special we did a thing where we were testing the best chocolate logs, Christmas chocolate logs testing. And Matt's first line when he sliced the end off a very famous high street supermarket branded chocolate log was, "Why, God, it looks like a prolapse." At which point I think I literally, sitting in producing, fell off my chair and was trying not to laugh. I was in the room and I was rolling on the floor.
Matt is just naturally funny in everything he said. The episode of me and him is just me sat here laughing the whole time. I think I asked one question and then just let him go on.
He's just very, very funny. And the chemistry with Amy works because she plays a very particular foil in that. So she gives him, I think the dynamic with those two is that she gives him possibly 70% of the jokes, and her jokes just cut when she just does it out the side of her mouth almost. She's very good. The beats in it are really clever. Yeah. But yeah, I used to sit in the pod with them when they were recording, and then I went out because Philippe, my co-producer, were just going, "You're going to have to get out there, you're going to have to get there. All I can hear is you sniggering in the background." And I was like, I
don't blame you, to be honest.
Suppressing the laughter. It's always find it remarkable how Matt is not, like, massive.
Yeah, I've said that too.
Because he should be massive.
Yeah, he should be. Absolutely, yeah.
He's probably the funniest Geordie comedian at the moment. Has been for a while.
He's one of the few comedians I know who can just go on stage with no material and cover an hour set and just be insanely funny.
Insanely funny.
Yeah.
I always think when I feel a bit shortchanged when he's introducing something, like he's the host at like
do you want him to
the
stay
stand
on?
and he introduces somebody and you go, "Oh," and you're like, "No, Matt, come back." So he leaves you wanting more. He is a brilliant comedian.
He's a master at his craft as well.
I hope you appreciate these plugs, Matt. Yeah. And you, Amy.
Do you know what? He gets mentioned a lot on the show, actually, Matt.
Does he really?
I'll just name drop him because it's cool. Yeah, it's great.
It's cool.
But yeah, we spoke about, and sticking on the social media side of things, we spoke that we don't like people airing their dirty laundry. So my rule is, no one needs to know who you're having sex with. No one needs to know how much money you make. Don't slag off your baby daddy, and don't just decide that I want to, have a video crying on social media, because people on social media don't care. No. They comment and they like, and you feel good about it, so you feel the need to keep doing it. But all they want to do is sit back with their popcorn and listen to your drama unfold, because there's nothing else going on in their life. I don't think, we spoke about curating the image on social media. And for me, if anyone looks at my Instagram, it is podcast clips and the occasional cool thing I do. People don't need to know what my family does. People don't know what I had to eat, unless it's something.
Who you're dating?
Great. Yeah, no one needs to know this. It doesn't.
Who are you dating, Adam?
I am dating many multi. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a single man, but I keep the dating side. I've always kept it to myself. No matter who I've dated, I don't post pictures. I keep it. That is my private life, and that's how I prefer it. Some people are like, "Well, why don't you want to show off your partner or this?" It's like, because that's my private life, and that's what I decided. You nosy bastards don't need to know all this.
Nobody. When I'm in a partnership, then there is stuff of us together. In fact, my partners are listed on Wikipedia.
Well, but so are you.
But they're not the only two people. They're not the only two people that But if they're serious, so like marriages, then they're listed. Pictures up there, yeah. They're out there. But other than that,
I just think people.
I'm alive.
People see I let you know I'm alive with the occasional post, but I'm just like, I want it to be what I want it to be. My social media is catered to people getting value from it or enjoying like an entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Like,
That's all it is. I mean, mine is food, me having a lovely time, something I like. My stories are very different to my posts.
Yeah.
Like my stories will cover politics, fashion, music, all sorts of stuff. But my posts are there forever, so they're a lot more curated and there. And I use different platforms to share different things. I'm on every platform.
Yeah.
Literally, like they would say, are you on Brightstar? Are you on Threads? Are you on LinkedIn? Yeah. Tick. Are you on Telegram? Yeah. Are you on this? I'm in them all. I don't necessarily post on everything constantly because I have a life.
Yes. Yeah. Do you use ChatGPT by any chance?
I use 3 different AI assistants, which I pay for. One of them is ChatGPT.
Have you ever asked it to do deep research on someone?
I've asked it to, when I'm checking, I have asked it to do some deep research, and I've given it the trick with using something like ChatGPT or Gemini, which is Google's, is to feed it as much as you can and then get it off doing the job.
Yeah.
Don't just rely on it because it lies.
Yeah,
it doesn't necessarily lie. It just gets it outrageously wrong.
It's like I do it for once I write the questions through for guests and stuff like that. I'll run it through and I'll try and get it like.
So is this you asking questions or is it your AI?
No, this is me. I write all my own questions,
just checking,
and then I run it through and I'm like,
because you do glitch now and again.
Me, yeah. I'm part of the Matrix. Yeah, that's what it is. Damn it, I've been found out. But I'll do like the research and then I'll ask it to find maybe something that I've missed or something like that. But sometimes it goes and gives you information on someone completely different. That's not related to the person, like you said with Daniel Craig or something like that.
Which is hilarious.
It'll be like Craig Wilde, TV producer, whatever, and then it'll be like starred in Casino Royale, and you're like, well, that's not quite right, is it?
Not quite right. No. I think in terms of what people might know me for, in terms of media, you asked about it. I did the bit of telly way back in the early noughties, but I was the subject of this Scotland documentary when I was about the clubbing and stuff. I was a Raptor TV thing. I did a thing for Lanark TV. I did stuff for Sky, bits and bobs. And then more recently, for 7 years, I was the host of Bingo Studio Live, the live bingo TV channel, which went out on Challenge TV, which was a sort of gaming site of the Sky, and then was online, and we just saw thousands and thousands of people, and people might know me from being on that live bit stream that came out of all those local bingo channels. I'm not going to give them a plug, but they're all the main ones that are around certainly in the north, and now quite everywhere. My voice is, I think, because I made a foolish mistake by allowing my voice to be licensed for one bingo site. Okay. And I've now used it for everything, where I am the guy that you go, number 1, 2020. We have a winner. And that is everywhere. And I wish I need to go back to the company and say, guys, I'm on 100 sites. I only licensed it for 3.
Well, I want you to do the, the one that's going viral at the minute of Jet 2? That one, I feel like we need to.
I love Jeff Goldblum's version of it.
Oh, I've not seen Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum does a kind of Jeff 2 holidays. I can't remember what the thing is now. You can save £20 when you buy
per person. Like, nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday.
That's a saving of. It saved £50. With Jeff 2 holidays, that's £200 for a family of 4. And I keep knocking the mic.
That's okay.
But he's I love Jeff Goldblum. I mean, he's one of my. I've just shared that version actually on my story on Insta because I love him. There is a great show he has on Disney, The World According to Jeff Goldblum. Okay, and he goes and looks up random stuff. The World According to him, and it will be about, I don't know, stock car racing or chocolate, or he just goes a deep dive on something, and he meets some random people whilst doing it. I think he's wonderful.
I would watch you do that show.
Would you?
Yeah, I would watch Craig Wilde Goes Nuts or something like that. Craig Wilde Goes Wild, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would watch something like that of you just exploring stuff, like an Idiot Abroad, but a bit smarter. You know what I mean?
Curious choice of words. I think the idiot bit lost me. But I've been around long enough. I know a lot of things about a lot of things, and I'm blessed. Remember of years ago, I wasn't as tech savvy as I am now.
Yeah.
And I accidentally synced my database with my phone. So there is like 10,000 odd contacts in my mobile phone. So if you need a taxi in Split, or you need a plumber in Croatia, not in Croatia, in say Corfu, or you need an animator in Bulgaria, or a museum director in Abu Dhabi, or X in Australia, or like I have these contacts. And I think what I would, just to kind of link that back to something I said about the studios, is the network. The richest thing, the most valuable thing I have is not the possessions. It's actually the network. And if you were to, if I was to be measured my wealth in the number of contacts and associates and relationships I have, I'd be a billionaire many years ago. And the one thing I love doing is going, oh, you're looking for this. Do you know what? I've got this girl in my phone, she might be, and I'll do that.
Connect people together.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that because it's like, it's almost like with our own brains where we stimulate in the firing of the synapses. And if I can take an Adam Proud who meets, Shona McGarrigle or whatever, and go put them together, and then suddenly something amazing comes out of it.
Yeah.
Then, wonderful for
like
them.
The chef of life. Aren't you?
Oh, the chef of life. The chef
That's a new title for your Instagram.
The chef of life. Yeah. And I do love cooking. I love cooking. I think we talked about me making bread, but I cook a whole plethora of baked goods and foods and things. I live with a Sri Lankan guy, who's my roommate. And so I cook lots of Asian food. I had a great chap living with me a year or so ago from Beijing, and I learned how to cook proper Chinese. I mean, I knew how to cook Chinese food, but we're
not talking Chinese takeaway though. Like,
no,
it's very different to Chinese food. Yeah.
This is like what Grandma China would make. She come, that he came in and he went, "Oh, I cook for you," and I was like, "Okay," and I'm expecting, a chow mein kind of thing, and I got 10 dishes, and I remember in 25 minutes, I remember going out, getting a shower, coming back in to the lounge and going, the table was covered in 10 dishes and me going, oh, jackpot.
Heaven.
Oh gosh, food is the way to me, how to get me into bed. This is going out as a commercial. Is great.
I'll put this as an advert for the podcast. Yeah.
Great food and great chat. So great food, great chat. I love that. In fact, one of my favorite things to do is to have a big table and get a dozen or so friends around it. Hopefully I've cooked. It doesn't have to be complicated food. I mean, I can do fancy.
Yeah.
But
nice wholesome food though.
Well, no, wholesome. It sounds like we're all having pie, doesn't it? And I make a mean pie, but mostly making, I don't know, I've got a kind of go-to Malaysian royal curry I do, which is chicken, banana, mango, coconut, a little bit spicy, a little chilies, and it's done with loads of green. And then there's loads of side dishes and stuff. And anyway, I serve that up. I can make it en masse, and people come around, and there'll be a dozen people, lots of good drinks, and that's it. And then board games.
Can I come to one of these parties, Craig? Have I been cool enough? Do I have the good crack? I'll bring the cardboard cutout of Luke if you want. If that swings the deal. You
know what? I'm not really into 2 dimensions.
Oh, that's my personality.
And not only that, it's made of paper and I'd hate to cut myself.
You've obviously done... Obviously, we've only just scratched the surface of what you've done. But I'm curious because when people look at everything you've done, they must think, holy shit, you successful, you've lived such an interest in life and career. But I feel like for many people that are probably listening to this, they really struggle to pat themselves on the back and be proud of what they've accomplished. Is that something that you've ever struggled with throughout your career?
Oh God, I do it all the time. I skip over it. I have colleagues that go, you should be really proud of what you've done there. That's amazing. And I go, but I'm so busy thinking about what I'm doing next. So I kind of go, you were incredible. what you did for the project is incredible. I love you. It's wonderful. I can't wait to move it to the next step. And then my head's already on another project. I mean, at the moment, I'm writing a new play, a new adaptation. Here's an exclusive. I'm writing an adaptation of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde,
Nice.
which will go on next October and replace my current production of Frankenstein at the Common Room. So that's on. I've been writing a movie for a little while, which I'd like to start to kind of work through from the beginning of next year, which is a vampire picture, which has got a lot of Dan Brownie kind of elements to it.
Nice.
So it's all anchored in history and a kind of what we call, alternative possible. Which is
like a what if scenario kind of thing.
Yeah, a little bit like that. So there's that. So it has a sort of grounding in a reality. It's not detached from this world. So there's that. I've got, a number of other projects that we're working on. We have, which we can discuss in a bit if you like, but certainly my creative output, as when you asked about getting patted on the back, all my cast and crew patted me on the back on Thursday night, and I hugged them and thanked them for their contribution. But as for what my contribution was, that's for the birds. Really, it's for other people to judge how good or bad I am, and the thing that I get the most joy out of, I suppose, in that respect, the reward, if you like, or the patting on the back, is not the actual someone saying like, come in, oh, you need to do this, or I need to do it for myself.
Yeah.
Is we have a production of Dickens' Christmas Carol we do every year. It's now in its 4th year. And we have guys come, local Geordie lads, who come up and go, I never go to theatre, me, like, I never go. But this is just bloody amazing. Christmas doesn't start. No, we've been here, like, and I.
You sound like Matt Reed.
So he's just constantly getting plugged. Yeah. But yeah, it's that that makes me very happy, and that is my pat on the back, because I managed to take somebody. Not I didn't take them. They saw something that attracted them enough to take them out of their comfort zone, come in and witness something and go, wow, that was just like amazing. How did you do that? I didn't. We did, like the collective.
I like that, yeah.
We did.
So, obviously, still on the topic of your long career, what's been the wildest or craziest moment that you can share in your career?
God.
One story that maybe you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe that actually happened. What is there one that you tell people and they're like, that didn't happen?
Yeah, no, but I'm just thinking, I don't want this out there. There is a classic story that people know about me, and maybe it was the story that said, I think you need to kind of calm down on the partying scene.
Okay.
Do tell. Yes.
You can't leave the listeners in suspense.
If they seek me out, I'll tell them. But wildest thing that I've done. I tell you, I was a number of years ago. I worked for Zandra Rhodes at the Museum of Fashion and Textiles down in London, and I got involved in sponsoring a few events. And I'd worked on one which was for the celebration of Bieber. For anybody that knows fashion, Bieber was a massive brand in the 60s, 70s. And they were doing a celebration of that. And when I was living up in Glasgow, I had this creative agency and we're doing the sponsorship, and it was with a very famous champagne brand. And so I'd gone down, I'd borrowed a kilt from Howie Nicholsby, who makes all the big fashion kilts for like Madonna, he's done it for, and Robbie Williams, and everything, where these kilts out of leather and out of army surplus and all sorts of stuff. And I've got these Air Force Blue ones, fatigue pattern.
Nice.
And they're great. I've got 2, and they've got utility belts and stuff. Anyway, I had this on, and my girlfriend at the time, she was, and by girlfriend I mean friend. Just want to clarify that. I'm not
girlfriend.
Girlfriend. Sorry. Yes, I was quite a well-known chef. Sort of Scotland's answer to Nigella. Sarah Sinclair, gorgeous girl. And we'd gone down and we'd done lunch at the Ivy. And I was going to the event that evening.
Yeah.
And I went to this event in the kilt and this sort of like knitted hoodie. It was all very Scottish kind of stuff because I was kind of going to get photographed, I think. So Hello Magazine and all of that was there. And there was a couple of very famous raconteurs and fashionistas in the queue who I did not know, but I knew who they were. So I'd be like, oh, Harry, Charlie, but Jemima, you know, do you, oh no, come on, don't queue. And I would take them in and they go, oh, thank you. And then when I got in, I drank a lot of the bubbly. So I'm in this circle and there's Sandra Rhodes, very colourful, a little sort of Swedish girl, this very tall American guy, older guy, and this sort of, forgive me, greasy looking bank manager chap. And we're all chatting away and whatever. And I was a little bit oiled. And because I wasn't looking, I was just talking to people.
Yeah.
And I had a sober moment when the big American guy has been chatting to me about all sorts of stuff. And he's like, you know, Craig, I love your kilt. My friend Madonna wore one of those in her last concert tour. And then I had a sober moment. And I realized that the big American was Larry Hagman, who I had only seen wearing a 10-gallon hat because he was J.R. Ewing in Dallas when I was a kid. His wife, beautiful Swedish wife, who was a very good friend of Sandra, Mary Quant, who was the creator of the miniskirts, and Brian Ferry. So forgive me, Brian, but you were the greasy-looking bank manager in that group.
Yeah.
And that was kind of crazy. Needless to say, I very quickly I was with Carol Decker at the time from Tapau. For anybody who knows that.
This is a group of people.
There was a great whack of people going on. My friend used to manage her at the time. And it was that. And then I remember like leaving and escaping it and ending up in the Mayfair Club with Blue.
Wow.
So, yeah. And I think I was talking to my friend Michael, who owned it. His pal is the lead singer, I think, with Iron Maiden.
Nice.
Can't quite remember the chap's name. I can see his face.
Is it Brett Johnson? Is that right?
Is it Iron Maiden? Or was it AC/DC?
I can't remember.
No, well, AC/DC. No, Brian Johnson is AC/DC, I think.
Right.
And I'm sure it's Iron Maiden, Sheffield.
Luke would know. Luke loves Iron Maiden.
Something like that. When I did research that one, somebody have to Google it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's the Iron Maiden guy, and he was in business with them, I'm sure. And forgive me if I've got you wrong, but it was a rock legend. And I remember like meeting him in there and going like, wow.
This one totally dead, yeah? Totally dead. How long ago did it die?
Like a couple of minutes.
Couple of minutes ago? Cool. We'll pause it before the last question. Change the battery, and then we'll be back with you, Craig.
Okay, thanks.
And we're back after that short commercial break.
Thank you, Adam, for putting your clothes back on.
Yeah, that's fine. It's been 2 hours since we paused it now. We've had some fun in the office.
Do you know what, right? I thought that's what I was coming here for, but never mind.
Well, you did say at the beginning you weren't sure whether you were going to shoot a horror movie or a porno, so there you go. You weren't sure.
Well, I was right on one of those counts.
When I took my clothes off, it was a horror movie. That's what it was. But obviously, my final question that I normally ask everyone that comes on the show, because obviously we've only just scratched the surface of your career, so we'll probably have to get you back for episode 2. But there's a question that I ask everyone that comes on the show, and it's entirely up to you how you answer this question. It's completely personal to you. I can see you taking a deep breath. Don't worry.
Yes.
It's not like how many people have you. No, it's nothing like that. But my question for you is quite simply: do you consider yourself a success?
Ask me that when I reach the end.
The end of life.
Yes, because it's not for me to judge now.
Okay.
I think I've had success and I think I've had failure, but the journey's not done yet. So how can we say that? Because we don't know how it's going to end. And maybe at the end I can look back and go, yeah, I'm proud of all those bits.
Yeah.
But then it wouldn't be for me to say either. It's for other people to judge, because perspectives change over generations. People's view. We know so much about so many people now. We know that certain artists and creators have a dark side. And what we seem to become obsessed with, and rightly in some cases, over the years, is the darkness in a character rather than the joy that they brought. And sometimes, we've got to learn, I think, to acknowledge the human being and the art, and sometimes that they can be separate, because in the moment of creating that art, they gave the world some joy, but in their personal life, they may have had they will have had their demons and their struggles, and we seem to focus on a lot of their darkness. So I would hope that posterity is kind to me, and I would hope that I was judged nicely, and fairly. But who can know? And frankly, when I'm gone, it's none of my business anyway.
Yeah.
But in terms of success, I've known both. But I think it's posterity that grants that, not the individual at the time. So to say to somebody, have you had a success, or how do you feel about success, or anything like that, I just go like, well, when you're talking to an actor and they say, so what do you think about the success of that movie? Well, yeah, that movie's fantastic, and I'm very, very happy with it. And then what happens is the next 10 bomb,
Yeah.
That's my view on success. Success is really, a lot of people measure it and they go, oh, you're a multimillionaire. Must be very successful. And I go, well, no, successful at making money. Very few multimillionaire billionaires are successful because of talent, or raw talent, if you like. They may be just very good at getting other people to do lots of things, and very good at managing that. I've had successes. I've had things I'm extremely proud of, but largely because of all the wonderful people I've worked with, and all the joy that I've been able to generate in other people, and hopefully inspire them a bit. I do a lot of talking to young people, increasingly more so. There's a group called the Northern Uniform, a group of 7 guys. There's a Lithuanian guy, there's a Northeast lad, there's a Nigerian guy, there's a couple of Filipino guys. They're real diverse 7, and they're fashion forward guys. And this is fashion forward. They're, as far as I understand it, they describe themselves as straight guys. They're in their early 20s. They love fashion, and they love style, and they love dressing up and looking cool. And they've got a great Instagram, Northern Uniform. Give them a look. And they I'm Papa Wilde. Because some of them don't really have a father figure, or haven't got one nearby, or an older big brother or whatever.
Yeah.
And they come in, and I make a point of going, right, come on, dude, what's going on?
Yeah.
And they run stuff past me. And I'm like, you know what? What about just focusing on that bit? And I'm not telling you what to do, but you can just, that's what I would do, maybe. Yeah. That's my suggestion. And they go off and do their thing, and I'm able to support them in that way. And, now the Alternate Group are also working with the King's Trust, and there's a lot of young people there too. We did a course recently in art and graphic design, and one of the guys identified that he was really fancies himself as being a designer in games, as in, doing concept art and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, Silent Games, which is a fantastic little sort of smaller studio, not little, but smaller studio, independent studio in Newcastle, or in our building, a fantastic output. And I was able just to go like, oh, I know the CEO. I'm going to go downstairs. Right, come with me, young man. Right, you want to do this? This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
And actually, the individual themselves is a little bit, I would say that they're on the spectrum. I think that's kind of what we always say, is a little bit spectrum. And went in there and discovered their own tribe. And they were like, yeah, I'm now going to go to college and do this.
Yeah.
And I go like, yes. And when they go and get their first job in games, or even just going to the course, I'll be immensely pleased, because that's success, and it's not mine. So that's that.
I like that your success is very much based on what you've left for other people. I'm loving this running theme through it. Is how you've left other people, like even just the slightest bit of, I don't know, success that you've gave them, I guess you would say. I like that.
Yeah, well, I think that
you help people realize their dreams, really, the things that they want to do.
I wrote a series of children's books a few years ago, Tip Top. Tip Top, the Elf of Save Christmas, who is basically post-COVID, saved the Christmas shop for Santa by shopping online with the Grange Markets because it was online at the time and it was COVID. And it's a fantasy book, but available on Amazon and all good book shops around the globe. And it spawned 2 sequels. But that book was illustrated by a girl called Monique Scott. She's a great naturalist. She's based up currently on Orkney. She's doing some work around conservation up on Orkney. And she's a great illustrator. And I'd met her in the Grange Market at one of those craft fairs. And I'd met her very, very briefly, like for a minute. And I loved her work. And I sat in the back of my brain. And 3 years later, I was looking for an illustrator. And I rang her up. And I said, right, well, we're going to publish your book. Not only that, we're going to have it animated. And we're going to get my old mate, Kim Woodburn, rest his soul, to narrate it for us, etc., etc., etc. And it turned into quite a thing. And I remember she writing to me and saying, thank you for making... And she also, we took her to the Institute for Children's Books and a few other bits and pieces we did. And she just wrote to me and said, thank you for making all my dreams come true. I don't know what I'm going to do next.
Yeah.
And that was great. I mean, the fact that I wrote a children's book is by the by. You know, I wrote 2 more with her. And that made me feel very happy because I like to see that. Last night I was at a fashion event, which was for Snide, which is a new emo goth kind of indie brand, run by Louis Glenn and Harry. They have this incredible brand. Sorry, not Harry, Henry. And they took over the Basement, which is a fashion boutique in Old Eldon Square in Newcastle. Last night, ran it from 7 till 11. Now, they had been brought into my hemisphere. They were working on a brand, and I was keen to get them in the studio. So they came in and did a preview of the new collection. And then they shot the collection. And last night, they did this pop-up, which was sensational. I mean, art installation, it was the coolest thing. Huge queues, brilliant. I think they sold 80-90% of the stock. It's now all for pre-order again on the website. Wow. So it was amazing. And I would wear their stuff as well. Like, I mean, there's
you give me emo vibes, yeah.
Yeah, there can be bits for everybody. And I just was really pleased to see their journey. So seeing them having come into our studio and created and done something and being able to kind of like help them by connecting with some other people, like they met encouraging them to connect with the Northern Uniform. Louis had spoke at the Northern Uniform event at our studios, along with another great fashion designer in our region, Meg Fletcher. She's a couturier, and another great designer, Corey Dixon, somebody else's guy, who's dressing all those kind of NTAs and BAFTA people. She is incredible. So collectively, there's this really fabulous fashion scene. And we've got one of the best fashion schools in the Northeast, in Northumbria. And having all these people come past the studio and now getting their success is how I feel good. Because I see that journey and I'm like going, I've been part of that.
You really are Papa Wilde, the chef of life. I love this.
Papa Wilde, the chef. I feel like a Smurf now. I feel like
Papa Smurf.
Papa Smurf.
For those not watching, he is blue.
Because he won't put the heating on. No. But yeah, so that's what gives me joy and that's how I feel success. I think personal success is something one equates in those final moments. It's that 60 seconds you get or whatever that feeling is when everything rushes past you at the end. That's when you can do that question. Other than that, it's only from the comments of others, usually in retrospect, that you'll be seen as success. It's not for me to judge. But I feel success for the stuff that's affected other people. That makes me feel great joy. Recently, I was working with Paul G. Clark on the musical, and one of the things that gave me made me feel really cool was that something I'd written Paul just takes it to the next level. And what he would do is he would write the song up and he'd send me the bounce of it. And then I would cry because I just couldn't believe that somebody had done such a wonderful thing with something I'd done. And I was joyous because of his success with that work, not mine.
You love seeing people thrive.
Oh, it's really, 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 really cool. Yeah, it's and if I can do that, I do. You know, we've got some clients at the minute who are all about helping other people thrive.
Yeah,
and I'm going to be looking forward to working more intently with them about maybe helping them help others do that.
Nice, man.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love it. So, mate, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you
It's
on.
supposed to be 20 minutes, this interview. It's gone on a bit.
Well, it was when I spoke to you on the phone as well, and I was like, yeah, so I normally go for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. You were like, oh. You were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, and I don't feel I've told you anything, but...
Mate, when you listen back, you realise we spoke a lot about your life. And I know we've only just covered some things, but there were some things that I left out and others that people can go in and look you up. But sometimes there's just too much to a person to cover in 2 hours. Which is a good thing.
I know, and I'm used to 20 minutes.
20-minute... How do you get anything done in 20-minute podcasts?
Oh, podcasts, yeah.
No, I'm about the long chats. Yeah.
Good.
I don't know whether you've noticed, but I am about the long chats.
It's always nice when a chap wants to pace himself.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first, folks. Yeah. But Craig, listen, where can people follow your journey? What have you got going on that people can come and maybe get part of?
I would highly recommend the highly acclaimed Frankenstein, which I wrote last year, having got in the head of a 17-year-old girl called Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein. Lots and lots of research. I did an adaptation. It was at the Newcastle Castle last year in the Castle Keep.
Nice.
It sold out for 2 weeks. It's back for a limited run in the week leading to Halloween and including Halloween this year. I highly recommend to come and see that. It's an all-star cast. It's already done about 40% of the tickets have gone for that,
Nice.
so that's pretty good at this point.
Yeah.
I highly recommend that. Guys, come and see it. It's electrifying. I know. And interestingly, Swan, who created or has the patent for the electric light bulb, who's a Geordie guy, Swan. He partnered with another guy who shares a patent, Mr. Edison, and Edison Swan, the electrical firm, which was up on Mosley Street, and also their factory is what now is End Clothing, outside the which there's 4 old lamps, and they're the original lamps that were for the factory, because it was a light bulb factory. Mosley Street in Newcastle being the very first electrified street in the world.
Wow. I didn't know this.
Yeah, because so he would have demonstrated the electric light bulb and been part of the Institute for Engineering, which is now known as the Common Room. And in the Common Room library, which is like Harry Potter's library, that is where we're doing Frankenstein. So that's where you can catch that. You can catch Dickens by Candlelight, which is back for its 4th year at Alderman Fenwick House, which is a 17th century house on Pilgrim Street. Fantastic. And you will also be able to find me. Just like look up Craig Wilde. I'm on every social platform if you want.
Not Daniel Craig, though.
But not Daniel Craig.
No,
not Daniel Craig.
Craig Wilde is better than Daniel Craig.
I never said
a better
that.
hairline too.
I never said that. Thank you for having me on, Adam.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time today, mate. And as always, guys, I always say follow Craig on everything. Go check out his shows. Go read his children's books. Even if you're not a child, go and do it, because Craig is absolutely insanely gifted. So follow him on everything. But also rate this podcast 5 stars. No 4 stars, right, Craig?
Sorry, I don't hear 4.
What is 4 stars?
I have no idea.
5 stars or just leave. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It just helps push us to new audiences, and it makes my day as well. It takes 2 seconds of your day to make mine. So until the next episode, guys, take care, and I'll see you very soon.